Hey everyone, welcome back. The final day of Color Cup is upon us finally, and with that, I wanted to try one of my favorite Pokemon in the entire game, Shadow Walrein. This Pokemon is so fun, it's very flexible, it has great coverage. The only issue is it is using a lot of nerfed moves. Icicle Spear and Earthquake used to be much different attacks. Earthquake used to have more damage. Icicle Spear used to be cheaper, but it's still a very powerful Pokemon, and it still has a very special place in my heart. If you want to see my battles live, I stream daily at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and see my teams early. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is down in the description. But without further ado, let's get into the battles and see what Shadow Walrein can do. Alright, let's jump right on into game number one here. Gastrodon in the lead up against a Unova Stunfisk. One of the best leads we could possibly see. Our opponent is going to instantly swap out tier to a Dugong, and I don't actually have a great answer to this, but I know that Unova Stunfisk has very little play against our Gastrodon. Our Walrein as well, up shield or up energy, can put in a lot of work against it as well. As long as our Talonflame avoids it, we're in a good spot, so I'm going to bring in the Talonflame now after clearing our debuff with our Gastrodon. Our opponent likely can get another Icy Wind off before we can throw a move, but they actually opt to throw on good timing. They don't really know exactly when that is, so let me throw first. Fly is going to come through and draw a shield, and I'm thinking at this point I can get to another move. I can likely draw both shields from this Pokemon if they want to let me get my Brave Bird off. In comes the Icy Wind. It doesn't knock us out. We can reach the Brave Bird. We would win that CMP anyway, but our opponent over farming here. They might be able to farm us all the way down, but I still have energy on our Gastrodon. We should be in a very good spot. Our opponent will opt for the farm down, but as I was saying, we have that energy on our Gastrodon left over, and I know up 2 shields to 0 that Unova Stunfisk has nowhere to go. In comes the Earth Power now. Our opponent shieldless is going to have to let their Dugong go down, and in the back is going to be an Abomasnow. This is looking like a Shadow Walrein sweep. We have shield advantage. We have so much energy. All I have to do is go for an Icicle Spear against them here, go for a full Powder Snow down, and have a ton of energy against that Abomasnow when they come back in. Abomasnow is a grass type, so Energy Ball would basically one-shot my Walrein if I happen to let that happen, but it takes a long time for them to reach those charge moves, so I can just double shield farm down and come at it with double charge attacks on my Walrein. This should be a very solid matchup for us right now, because there's no way they're going to reach an Energy Ball against my Walrein and against my Gastrodon before we can knock them out. In comes out Abomasnow. Once again, Icicle Spear number 1 going to be thrown. We have 2 back-to-back loaded. You can see just how much damage Shadow Walrein has. Nearly does half health against this Abomasnow, despite not being super effective. It's just neutral damage here. Next one coming through right after. Might not be quite enough to knock out, so we might as well go for a Mud Slap down here with our Gastrodon and take the win there in game number 1. Walrein putting in so much work. Gastrodon up against a Macargo in the lead. Fantastic stuff here. What is my opponent going to do? They're going to have to swap out to a Ferrothorn safe swap. Good stuff here. We have Talonflame for this. I guess our Walrein in the last game put in a lot of work. This game, not even necessary to win the match. Next game, another Rock-type lead, this time an Alolan Golem. We have a lot of damage against this with our Mud Slaps, but our opponent instantly swaps out to a Decidueye. This is always a bit of a tricky matchup depending on their moveset. If they do have access to Brave Bird, they can actually get a shield advantage, or if they land it, they can end up flipping switch. But I'm going to call the Spirit Shackle here because I know at this point, most of the time, they're not running Brave Bird, and I'm going to go instantly for the Fly. This is because they are almost at their next move. I have to throw this, or else they'd get a shield advantage from me, and that is not what I want. I want to make sure that shields are even right now. They are going to shield first, so we're going to shield second. I can get a Brave Bird against that Golem, and all they're going to get for it is 1 rollout. I know that Brave Bird is extremely resisted, but it's still a powerful move against a very squishy Pokemon, so we could probably do about 40% of their HP right now just by throwing this 1 charge attack, and I'm very happy to trade this for just 1 rollout of energy. In comes the Brave Bird, yeah, chunking them down quite a bit, basically into Icicle Spear range at this point too, and our opponent in the backline having a jump up, the classic Golem double grass team. Shadow Walrein loves to see this. Although Energy Ball is super effective, it could potentially do a lot of damage to us if we end up letting it go. With that said, I know Shadow Walrein is not actually that squishy, so as long as we are able to survive this move, like, no matter what, there's no way we're going to lose this game, right? I survive this Energy Ball, we can no-shield this, go for a Powder Snow and Icicle Spear right after this, and knock out this Pokemon. We don't even need to shield this matchup. We win the 0-1 shields against Jumpluff. Icicle Spear does get the knockout. In comes the Golem. They realize at that point not much they can do there. GG's to them. Next matchup, Gastrodon up against a Toxapex. Another fantastic lead for a Mud Slapper. What are we going to see our opponent do? They actually instantly swap out to a Pokemon that I don't actually have a hard answer for. I know that Shadow Walrein is a decent pick into this, but it's actually not as comfortable as you'd like it to be because they do have access to Stone Edge, and if they start baiting Aqua Tails, it could get a little uncomfortable. With that said, they throw almost instantly with that Aqua Tail there, so I know I can come in with our Shadow Walrein, start building up a lot of energy. I wasn't quite sure at the moment if Walrein won CMP here against Quagsire. It actually is close, but Walrein should win that CP, so I could have thrown first, but I'm still going to be fine overfarming here, knowing that Earthquake against that Toxapex is going to do a massive amount of damage. In comes Icicle Spear. It does draw their shield. I have another one, but still, I don't know who wins this CMP, so I'm just going to overfarm, knowing that my energy should still go quite a long way in the backline. Stone Edge is going to get shielded up this time, and in comes that Toxapex. Very interesting play from our opponent. They're going to switch lock in their Toxapex here, so I'm going to build up to 100 energy, have as much energy as this Wolverine is going to be able to store here. Earthquake will draw a shield, funnily enough, and now we can talk to our Gastron, who has so much energy on its own that I was able to store from that Quagsire, safe swapping into us, and now I can go for an Earth Power in just a second. Brian doesn't quite knock us out here. In fact, that's not even in range where a Poison Jab down could even happen. We can go for an Earth Power against them, potentially get a knockout, or put them as low as possible to maybe fast move them down later on this game. I'm fine just letting my Gastron go. I didn't really want to knock out this Toxapex because I don't want them to get a huge energy lead on whatever is in the back. I want the energy lead myself, and our opponent, realizing that, is going to instantly swap out here to their Charjabug. This is a little awkward. A discharge from this range might be enough to knock us out. I am hoping that Talonflame can survive, just barely get a Brave Bird off and KO this Charjabug. Right now, it looks like that is exactly what's going to happen. Brave Bird should get the knockout, and Wolverine has so much energy in the backline. We just need to land an Icicle Spear against the Toxapex and one against the Quagsire, and this game should be ours. In comes that Toxapex. We're going to swap out, build up to back-to-back Icicle Spears, and once again, Wolverine closing out the endgame here. One Icicle Spear ready for this Toxapex, the other one going to be thrown against that Quagsire, and this game should be ours. GG's to our opponent. Very, very fun team comp. Wolverine showing why it is such a powerhouse here. Even in bad matchups, it has very good coverage. All right, next matchup, what are we going to see? We have the Gastrodon up against a Ferrothorn. Speaking of bad matchups, this might be one of the worst we could see. I'm going to safe swap our Shadow Wolverine and try our best to put this matchup. Our opponent is staying in for a second here, so they're actually going to let us throw a charge move before they're going to swap out. This Icicle Spear will put them down a little bit of HP, which might make it a little bit easier to Mud Slap down later on if we need to, but this Power Whip will do a ton of damage. I have to shield it up. It would basically knock us out from this range, so I will opt to shield. That's a mirror shot, and they get the attack drop. That is the worst case scenario right now. They throw on alignment on this next move. I'm going to have to double shield. What is my opponent going to do? They opt to bait me again. Well, this matchup is unraveling very quickly. In comes a Kingdra as well. This is so bad because I'm debuffed. I am stuck with no shields, and I know right now we are in a world of hurt. I'm going to go for the Icicle Spear. It doesn't do much damage to that debuff, but now I can try to go for a Mud Slap down. There's a chance here that we can survive an Outrage and go for a full Mud Slap down, at least have a little bit of energy for the backline, but this move is going to do a massive amount of damage to me, and these Mud Slaps just barely knock them out before we get Dragon Breath down. I'm going to go straight for the Earth Power. At this point, Ferrothorn is so low that I think they have to shield this if they don't want to get knocked out. Earth Power comes through. It gets the knockout, but in the back is another Dragon Breather. This is looking so bad. Palkia is going to be yet another answer to our Talonflame. Our Talonflame has nowhere to go in this backline. They had a Ferrothorn in the lead, but they had two Water Dragons in the back. Aqua Tail at this point will knock us out, and there's no way we're going to reach 3 Icicle Spears against this Palkia before they can just farm us down or reach another Aqua Tail. GG's to them. All right, next game, what are we going to see Gastrodon up against? And Abomasnow, one of the worst possible lead matchups here, but I can safe swap my Shadow Wolverine, try our best to land either an Icicle Spear against them early on, or see what they want to do. Our opponent actually staying for quite a second here, and letting us get this Icicle Spear off. They might be trying to get a shield by going for an Energy Ball, or potentially at least baiting an Energy Ball against us. Icicle Spear, though, look at that, massive damage, puts them basically into range where a Body Slam from our Gastrodon later on could potentially knock them out. We do shield up the Energy Ball, which is fantastic, but I believe we actually did get Defense Drop there, which is a little unfortunate, saying more Pekko does come in here, but I see a lot of play for us right now, despite the fact that this initial matchup here is not looking great. They're going to be forced to throw energy here before my next Icicle Spear. I can go for a full Mud Slap down, make sure I have so much energy on my Gastrodon that I can go for Body Slams against that Abomasnow, and I think we might be in a decent spot, because we did make them drain all of their energy on that Abomasnow. If I can shield this farm all the way down before they reach another Aura Wheel or potentially a Seed Bomb, we should be in a good spot. Aura Wheel coming through, likely that means they have Psychic Fangs as their secondary charge attack, or maybe they're just trying to boost their attack as much as they can. But with that said, I do get a full Body Slam coming out of this matchup. If Abomasnow comes in here, I can overfarm to back-to-back Body Slams, and I should be in a very good spot. In comes out Abomasnow. Likely that means that a Mud Slapper, or a weakness to a Mud Slap, is going to be in the backline. Maybe a Poison type, maybe an Electric type, like a Unova and Stunfisk. We'll have to see what they're running. Body Slam does get shielded. I don't go for the CMP, knowing that they likely are going to try to throw instantly. I get a full Mud Slap sneak because of that, and now Weather Ball doesn't do that much damage, but I'm going to overfarm just a little bit more so I can outpace whatever's in the backline to an Earth Power. In comes a Body Slam. This should get a knockout here at this point against this Grass and Ice type Pokemon, and in comes their final pick. It's a Unovan Stunfisk. It's a good thing we have all this energy, because our Talonflame does not want to see this at all, but Earth Power is going to put them well within range where we can Incinerate down, and one discharge from a Unovan Stunfisk either way will not knock out our Talonflame. We go for this farm down here, or we at least attempt to, but they reach a Mud Bomb against us, and now in comes the Talonflame to try to Incinerate down. One doesn't quite do it. We are going to take a discharge, but I know we survive it. Discharge is not the strongest move out there. Talonflame should be able to survive this and get that full fast move farm down. GG's to them. Very close end game. All right, next matchup, we're going to see our Gastrodon in the lead up against a Toxapex. Back to another good lead here. We are going to try our best to keep switch advantage if we can, but in comes another Quagsire. We don't have a great answer for this once again. I'm going to stay in for just a second, try to ship them down with these Mud Saps, maybe go for a Body Slam or an Earth Power, depending on what I want to do. I'm going to go straight for the Earth Power, actually, to try our best to get a shield guaranteed from them, because this is a non-Shadow Quagsire, but our opponent actually opting to let it go, so it's a good thing I went for the big move. I wait a turn, and I catch the move here on our Walrein. It's a Mud Bomb rather than a Stone Edge, which is fantastic, but they throw back-to-back. This is almost certainly going to be a Stone Edge this time. So I'll fill it up, go for a full Powder Snow down, knowing that I can likely either get a shield back against that Toxapex or just get massive damage by going for Earthquake with our Shadow Walrein. In comes the Toxapex here, but fantastic coverage on our Walrein is going to give us a lot of play here. Earthquake should do massive damage if they end up letting it go, or at the very least, it will draw their shield to get shield parity. No, they do opt to let it go, which puts them very close to maybe even Icicle Spear plus Fast Move range. At this point, I might as well throw it, right? I want to get as much chip damage against them as I can. Icicle Spear coming through, our opponent is going to let it go, and in the back is going to be a Kingdra. That's a little awkward, actually. I tried to get the snipe down against them with that Mud Set, but they swapped at the exact same time as me here, which means they still have a lot of energy on that Toxapex. They have a lot of health on this Kingdra. It's a non-Shadow Kingdra, so our Mud Saps are not quite doing as much damage as I'd like. I'm going to have to try to no-shield this and try to get the shield with our next Body Slam here, but our opponent gets the attack drop, which means that this is much worse. This Body Slam is going to do much less damage than I'd like it to. Body Slam coming through, doing almost nothing. I think I can reach 2 flies against this Kingdra before getting knocked out, but the thing is, there's still a brine left over on that Toxapex. I do have a catch potentially, but this is looking so awkward right now. In comes the first Octazooka. I have to shield it up, and I know at this point I have to try to call the combo play, or else I'll be locked into an Incinerate, and they'll be able to just go for it instantly. But they call that I'm going to instant swap. They go for the fast move down, and now they can just go in with their Toxapex, go for a brine, and take us out. GG's to them, very well played. Unfortunately, a little bit of a trap for a Talonflame here, almost nowhere for it to go once again, but GG's to our opponent. Next matchup, we're going to see Gastrodon in the lead up against a Toxapex. We're getting a lot of good leads here today with our Mudslapper, but what are they going to swap in is always a question. This time it is going to be a Decidueye. This Pokemon is going to be a very good matchup for us, and because they have a Toxapex in the lead rather than an Alolan Golem, I'm actually going to be fine shielding this up, knowing that my energy is going to go a lot further. Spirit Shackle does come through. It does a decent chunk of damage, or at least it would have if I would have let it go, but that defense drop is going to make it so now our Talonflame is not going to last too long in this matchup. But honestly, that's fine. I just want to get 2 Brave Birds off, and I want to give them as little farm as possible, so getting the defense drops are actually kind of helpful for me right now. These Poison Jabs are doing as much damage as they could ever possibly do here, and comes yet another Brave Bird. It's going to basically knock them out if they let it through, so yeah, 2 Brave Birds, just getting our shield right back from this Toxapex. They get a huge farm down, but honestly, I'm not that worried about energy with our Gastrodon. And in the back, okay, this is kind of bad. It's a Ferrothorn, one of the worst possible Pokemon I could see. A bit of a core breaker for our 2 water types. With that said, I think I survive a charge move here, and it's not like we're not doing a lot of neutral damage with our Walrein and with our Gastrodon. So if I can land this Icicle Spear, there's a chance I can Mud Slap down, and if they shield this, there's a chance I can land an Earth Power and knock them out that way. This is going to be a very tight endgame, though. These Bullet Seeds are super effective, and they still have some health and some energy on that Toxapex. So what I need to do right now is I need to have perfect energy management, CMP them on the next charge move here. When they throw the Power Whip, I need to throw the Earth Power, and I need to make sure that this Ferrothorn goes down before they land a Power Whip against us. In comes Earth Power. Is this going to be able to knock them out? I have to hope that it is. It does. It knocks out the Ferrothorn. In comes the Toxapex, and now as long as they don't reach 2 brines, we should be in a good spot where I'm only 1 Mud Sap away from an Earth Power. We can knock them out, and I think we can close out this game using Gastrodon as a way to close out against the Ferrothorn and the Toxapex. That was a very tricky backline matchup, but we were able to close out that game just barely. GG's to them. All right, next matchup, we're going to see Gastrodon up against a Talonflame. Very bad lead. Honestly, this Pokemon is a little tricky for our entire team. Shadow Walrein's not bad here, but it's also not great, especially when we're down energy, and when they are likely just going to go for a chip and dip. They go for a Fly or a Brave Bird instantly. Maybe it's a Flame Charge as well, but they just throw instantly when they can. Fly is going to be the move of choice, and in comes a Gastrodon. All right, well, this is looking all right for us, because if I can get a shield back with these Icicle Spears, I can get a nice farm down against them with our own Gastrodon, and Body Slams will start adding up against that Talonflame, especially after the Power, or the Powder Snow, rather, chip damage that I got against them. In comes the next move, but they do opt to no-shield it, which actually makes my life very uncomfortable. I intentionally stopped tapping here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to no-shield this Body Slam. I'm going to swap out now, get the energy lead with our Talonflame. I wanted as much HP as possible on this Gastrodon to make sure that I get 2 Incinerates here rather than just 1, so that maybe we have a little bit more play with our Talonflame. With that said, it's another Mudboy in the backline. This is not looking great for us. A Shadow Quagsire. This Pokemon might have Mud Bomb and potentially Stone Edge, though. If it's the Aqua Tail Stone Edge, then we're in a lot of trouble. But if it's Mud Bomb Bomb Stone Edge, we might be in a decent spot here. They let that first charge move through. I guess I should have gone straight for the Brave Bird, but either way, we're going to try our best here. They go for a Stone Edge, which is a good sign. Potentially that means that they are not running Aqua Tail, but then they throw very soon after. This might actually be an Aqua Tail here, which would be so bad it's to do a lot of damage. Yeah, they just went straight for it, and now they get the Incinerate Sneak, meaning that we are going to lose a full Fly or Brave Bird of energy. Fly comes through, it draws the shield, but if we could have got that second shield, we might have a chance this game, but because they sniped us down with that Incinerate, I think that they have us right now. Gastron is going to come back in, try its best here, but I think these Flies and maybe even Brave Birds will be enough to knock us out. In comes a charge move. They gave us a sneak, actually, so if this is just a Fly, maybe we can make a catch. Our opponent, though, playing it smart, going for the Brave Bird, knowing that it would be enough to knock us out after one more Incinerate. I have a Body Slam loaded. If I can survive this somehow, I have two, actually, back to back, but no, that Incinerate does take us out. Our Walrein is just a little bit too low right now to even reach a charge move of its own. They go for another Fly, and it looks like it is curtains for us. GG's, Shadow Walrein not quite able to pull that one out. All right, next game, Gastrodon up against the Gastrodon, the mirror match, actually. Very neutral lead, obviously. Our Talonflame does like seeing this matchup. Our Walrein's kind of neutral here as well, so it's not like I really care where this Gastrodon is going to be against my team. I'm just more concerned that potentially their backline could also be weak to my Gastrodon, so I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for us right now. We'll have to see what their backline is going to be. Earth Power does end up getting no-shielded by us. I'm going to full send the Earth Power myself, see what they want to do. Earth Power comes through, it does a massive amount of damage, and now I'm going to swap out, store a little bit of health on our Gastrodon as a potential catch later on, and in comes a non-Shadow Typhlosion. If this was a Shadow Typhlosion, I think we might be in a little bit of a better spot, actually, because the Shadow would probably have to start respecting Icicle Spears a lot sooner, but I'm still going to have to throw these because I don't have a great answer to this Pokemon. In comes the first Icicle Spear, in comes the second one even, because of that energy lead that we had, and they are opting to throw on good timing. I'm going to try my best to chip down this Typhlosion, because these Thunder Punches are going to do so much damage, not only to my Walrein here, but also to my Talonflame. I just have to no-shield at this point, go for an Incinerate down, and hope for the best. I'm expecting a double Fire team comp from them right now, maybe a Talonflame or Charizard in the backline. In comes a Fire Flyer. It is a Talonflame. I can see one big win condition right now. It's to either go for a bait or just full send the Brave Bird here. I'm going to full send it, hope for the best right now. Brave Bird is going to come through. Our opponent ends up no shielding. They call the fly bait, and at that point, I can just farm them all the way down. GG's to them. That was a very risky call, but it worked out for us. All right, GG's to them. Next game, it's going to be an Abomasnow in the lead. Fantastic stuff here. I'm going to safe swap instantly to our Shadow Walrein. Try our best to neutralize this with our neutral safe swap. Our opponent, once again, not swapping out, letting us get this ice-type damage against them. This is going to do quite a bit. Put them into range where those body slams later on will add up. Are they going to go straight for the energy ball, or are they going to bait us? I'm going to be safe right now and shield at this move. This time, though, it is a bait, but in comes a Unova Stunfisk. This actually isn't that bad for us, though. We bait out a very bad Pokemon for our Talonflame to see, and I know I might survive a charge move here. Discharge comes through. It doesn't do that much damage, honestly. I actually get to 2 Icicle Spears as well here. I'm going to go for a huge undercharge, though. I know that I need 2 to knock them out one way or another, and if I do that, I make them shield the second one, I give myself a lot of HP to farm down with our Gastron so I can get a lot of body slams against that Abomasnow later on. So by going for that full undercharge on that first move, I am going to set up my Gastron for a lot more energy against that Abomasnow later on this game. Mud Bomb comes through here, but they instantly swap out knowing that that farm down would be too much to give over to me. But Kingdra in the backline, I would have much rather seen this here with my Gastrodon rather than against the Talonflame, so getting these body slams off early will make it so they're going to shield, because they want to get a debuff off potentially with, what's it called, the Octazooka, and then I can now go for a full-on Earth Power, potentially get the knockout. Even if they debuff us at this point, I think an Earth Power would be enough, but our opponent does not even get the debuff. Earth Power coming through right now. What are they going to do? They kind of just have to let this go. They don't have any shields left. No catch opportunity as well, so we can take them out there. In comes the Abomasnow, but we have our Talonflame ready to go. They have a charge move, but that's totally fine. I survived this, and as long as we can take out that Unova Stunfisk, we should be in a very good spot. In comes the Ufisk here. They will be able to reach a charge move potentially, but they actually overfarm just a little bit too much. They let us get a fly off, and we should be able to close out the game here with our Talonflame. With that said, even if they did discharge us, I think that we could just mud-slap through both of these remaining Pokemon and take the game that way. GG's to them. Next matchup here against a Charjabug. Fantastic lead for a Gastrodon, but honestly, the only thing that really makes this matchup good is that we are resisting their electric-type damage. We're not doing super effective damage to them, and they do have a lot of neutral charge move pressure against us, so they can put in work here if they want to stay in. And if there's like a Toxapex or something in the backline, it could be kind of bad that I'm losing out on a lot of HP on my Gastrodon here. Our opponent throwing on back-to-back moves here, giving us a full Mudslap sneak, but that's fine. I can go for an Earth Power in just a second here, try our best to chip down this Charjabug, and hopefully get it out of the way for a backline. Power will probably knock them out if they let it through. And once this is out of the way, I know our Talonflame and our Walrein should be in a much better spot. Our opponent, though, instantly comes in with a Gastron. I save my own Gastro just in case we need it. And they're staying in here for some reason. I'm going to shield our Walrein. I know it's probably going to be a Body Slam bait, but I can't risk an Earth Power just one-shotting us at this point, which is going to be a good thing we shield that up, because that was an Earth Power. We ended up not getting one shot here, and in comes our own Icicle Spear. We need two of these to knock out from this range. Icicle Spear does a lot of damage, but not quite enough to KO just yet, and these Mud Saps are putting us very low. In comes our next Icicle Spear. Our opponent is going to have a big decision to make, but they opt to let it go and invest completely in Morpeko. This is so scary, actually. Morpeko is one of the worst Pokemon our backline could see. With that said, I have a lot of Fast Food Pressure left over. I have Incinerate, I have Mud Slap. All I need to do right now is get as much Fast Food Pressure against this Morpeko as I can. In comes the first charge move here. They gave me a nice sneak, so I'm going to shield this up. This Earth Power, or this Incinerate rather, damage is going to do as much damage as possible against this thing. They can't really go for a huge overfarm here, because if they do, they're going to take another Incinerate, so they throw instantly, and now it's down to Icicle Spears, or Powder Stones rather, and Mud Slaps if I can win this game. In comes our Gastron. If I can survive 2 or 3 Thundershocks here, I should be able to win this game. We are able to survive, get the Single KO, and we had our Walrein in the back winning us the game. Yet another Abomasnow lead, it looks like. Honestly, these haven't been that tricky with this team, despite being a bad lead matchup here. A lot of the time, they don't have a great answer to our Walrein, but I had to jinx it this time. They do have a Toxapex, a Pokemon that obviously resists our fast move pressure, and if they shield up a bait, this matchup can get a little bit awkward. Earthquake comes through, but they opt to let it go, and once they let that move through, it actually gives me a lot of opening, because now I can go straight Icicle Spear, potentially draw both shields or flip switch advantage, which would be massive for us right now. Sludge Wave comes through, we shield it up. It is not able to knock us out with that nuke. They tried, but we were able to block it there. Icicle Spear coming through now. Are they going to let this go, or are they going to shield this up, knowing that they might want to switch this game? They do let it go, and we get a full Powder Snow down, having quite a bit of energy for whatever is going to come in. In comes actually a Shadow Feraligatr. This Pokemon would be another very good answer to our Shadow Walrein, but the thing about this is we have so much energy right now. We can get to back-to-back Icicle Spears. We might even draw a shield with this, and we know it's an Abomasnow in the backline that our Talonflame loves to see. All we need to do is whittle down this Feraligatr so our Talonflame doesn't have to see that, and our Gastron, it doesn't have to win this matchup super hard. It just has to make sure this Feraligatr is going to be chipped down as much as possible with our fast moves. I'm going to shield up here knowing that one Hydro Cannon wouldn't knock us out, but if they land both of them, we would be in big trouble. In comes the Abomasnow here. I don't want to let them get a Weather Ball against us so that they can put us into range where one Hydro Cannon would knock out, so we instantly swap out to our Talonflame, and we get these Incinerates off against this Abomasnow. This is doing so much damage against them right now, but they do get another charge move here. There's a chance this knocks me out, but if it doesn't, then we can get a Fly or a Brave Bird off against that Shadow Feraligatr, and we have a Body Slam loaded on our Gastron. In comes our first charge move here. We have the Brave Bird loaded. We have a Body Slam on our Gastron, so we can just combo play them here after they knock out our Talonflame, come in with our Gastron, and knock out this Shadow Feraligatr. Once again, overcoming one of the worst leads we can see with this Abomasnow, but our Gastron just a little bit too oppressive here in the backline. Our next in Gastron up against a Tropius, one of the worst leads I could see. I don't know why it's just Grass Lead after Grass Lead right now, but in comes a Macargo to answer our Shadow Walrein. This is so bad because I know that we have to either go for a risky bait or just full send a nuke if we want to have any play right now. With that said, this matchup is very playable. Rock Tomb will debuff us, but I don't think it's going to save them from getting one shot here. I'm just going to full send the Earthquake. If we can flip switch, I think we can win this game. Earthquake is going to land one shot in Macargo, and our opponent is going to top left. GG's to them. All right, next game here is Shadow Palkia against our Gastron. One of the best leads we could see, just because this does avoid our Talonflame in the backline, and I do know that this matchup can be kind of awkward depending on when they throw, so I'm going to overfarm here, try to get as much energy as possible for the backline, just shield up the Aqua Tail, and go for a Body Slam. I'm just noticing now this opposing trainer actually has a 1500 CP Shadow Palkia. I'm very jealous. Mine's like 1466 CP, so this must be a much better Palkia than mine. Body Slam comes through, knocks them out, and in comes a Shadow Jumpluff. Well, that's fine. We have our Shadow Walrein and our Talonflame in the backline for this, and because they stayed in that lead matchup, I'm expecting my Gastron to have a little bit more play in the back. In comes an Icicle Spear. They're going to be forced to shield this up. It would one-shot them if they don't, and now they're going to throw a charge move of their own. It could be an Aerial Ace bait, but it also might just be an Energy Ball, so I will shield it up. Energy Ball gets shielded, and now I could outpace them to another move if they happen to let me, but no, it's going to be a Gastron that comes in here after the fact, and we're going to try our best to whittle this down with Icicle Spears. At this point, though, I think this game is going to be ours. We have an Icicle Spear for this. They actually opt to shield that move very early on and go for a charge move against our Walrein. That's totally fine. I know we have energy on our own Gastron, and once our Talonflame is aligned into that Jumpluff, we should just have this game. Earth Power is loaded with our own Gastron. We saved all of this energy. I don't know for sure if we can knock them out before they're going to Mud Slap us down, but they've already shown Earth Power, so unless they're running Water Pulse as their other charge move, we should be in a very good spot. In comes the charge move here. If it is a Water Pulse, there is a chance for them to win this game if they can reach an Aerial Ace after the fact, but it's going to be an Earth Power. We survive, and they do get the debuff, but it's not going to be enough to make it so an Ace knocks us out. GG's to them. It was a very fun team. Honestly, I didn't really like the Color Cup, but a great way to end off the day here with a 5-0. Color Cup was a little bit more RPS than I'd like it to be, but fortunately, Great League, Ultra League, and Master League are all coming back with the Go Battle Week event happening right now, and I think that it was a pretty good idea to close out this event, or this Color Cup rather, with Shadow Walrein. It's one of my favorite Pokemon that I've ever used in competitive play, and I mean, I wouldn't mind if it became just open Great League meta again. Honestly, after the performance today, maybe it is. Well, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to see my battles live, I stream daily at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and see my teams early. I'd love to see you there. The link to that is down in the description. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this on the channel. Thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.